Sometimes, the hardest conversations are the ones that never happen. One misunderstanding, one wrong assumption, one moment seen from across a crowded room can completely change how someone feels. Tonight, Ethan is about to learn that lesson. It was finally Friday afternoon, and the campus felt completely different. Students were leaving their classes with smiles on their faces, already talking about weekend plans. Jake walked beside Ethan, excitedly telling him about the party that evening. "You are coming tonight," Jake said confidently. Ethan shrugged. "I'm not really a party person." Jake smiled knowingly. "Emma's going." Ethan tried not to react, but he couldn't hide the small smile that appeared on his face. "Really?" Jake laughed. "I knew that would change your mind." Back at the dorm, Jake was ready within minutes, but Ethan couldn't seem to decide what to wear. He changed his shirt once, then again, then a third time. Every outfit suddenly looked either too casual or too formal. Jake couldn't stop laughing. "You've changed clothes more times than anyone I've ever met." "I'm just trying to look normal," Ethan replied. Jake shook his head. "Nobody changes outfits 3 times just to look normal." That evening, the university's student center was filled with music, colorful lights, and the sound of hundreds of students laughing together. It wasn't a wild party, just a fun campus gathering where everyone could relax after a long week of classes. Emma arrived with Olivia and Mia. As she entered, she immediately spotted Ethan across the room. Their eyes met, and they exchanged warm smiles before being pulled into separate conversations with friends. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Then someone walked over to Emma. He was taller than most students, confident, friendly, and looked a little older. His name was Lucas. "Emma!" he said with a huge smile. Emma's face immediately lit up. "Lucas, I can't believe you're here." The two shared a quick hug before they started talking. They laughed together as Lucas showed her something on his phone. Emma laughed so hard that she had to wipe a tear from her eye. Across the room, Ethan watched quietly. At first, he told himself it didn't matter. Then he noticed how comfortable they seemed together. He watched them continue talking, then laughing, then smiling. His imagination quietly began filling in the blanks. Maybe they've known each other for years. Maybe they've been talking this whole time. Maybe she's happier around him than she is around me. The more Ethan watched, the more convinced he became that he was simply standing in the background of someone else's story. Jake noticed exactly where Ethan was looking. "Dude," Jake said softly, "they're just talking." "I'm fine," Ethan answered. Jake smiled. "No, you're not." Ethan crossed his arms. "I said I'm fine." Jake Seahill. That's usually what people say when they're definitely not fine. Meanwhile, Emma finally finished her conversation with Lucas. She looked around the room, searching for Ethan. She couldn't find him. She asked Mia if she'd seen him. "I think he went outside," Mia replied. Emma looked confused. "I was actually looking for him." Outside, the music from the party became distant. Ethan sat alone on a bench beneath the campus lights, replaying the evening over and over in his mind. Every smile, every laugh, every second Emma spent talking to Lucas. The more he thought about it, the worse he felt. A few moments later, Emma stepped outside. "There you are," she said with a smile. Ethan forced one back. "You looked busy." Emma tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "Nothing." She sat beside him. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Emma smiled. "You would have liked Lucas." Ethan looked away. "I'm sure." Emma laughed. "He's my cousin." Ethan blinked. "My cousin just transferred here this semester. We haven't seen each other in months. I wanted to introduce the two of you." For a moment, Ethan couldn't say a single word. Everything he had imagined instantly disappeared. Emma looked at him carefully before a playful smile slowly appeared on her face. "Were you jealous?" Ethan immediately shook his head. "What? No!" Emma laughed. "You definitely were." Ethan couldn't hide his embarrassed smile anymore. "I may have overthought things." Emma smiled warmly. "I noticed." She gently nudged his shoulder. "Next time, instead of imagining an entire story in your head, just ask me." Ethan laughed. "That probably would have been easier." It definitely would have. The two walked back toward the party together. Jake watched them return and quietly smiled to himself. Crisis officially avoided. Lucas waved as they walked in. "So you're Ethan," Lucas said with a friendly smile. Ethan smiled back, feeling slightly embarrassed after realizing how wrong he'd been. Emma looked at both of them and smiled. I've actually told Lucas a lot about you. Ethan looked surprised. You have? Emma simply smiled without answering. Come on, she said. Let's go get something to eat. The three of them walked toward the food tables, laughing together as the music continued playing around them. For the first time that evening, Ethan realized something important. Sometimes, the biggest obstacle isn't another person. It's the story we create inside our own minds. As the party began winding down, everyone slowly started heading home. Emma's phone suddenly vibrated. She looked down at the screen. Her smile slowly disappeared. The message contained only a single sentence. We need to talk tomorrow. It's important. She quietly locked her phone before Ethan noticed. As they walked across the quiet campus together, Ethan had no idea that tonight's misunderstanding was over. But a much bigger mystery was waiting for them tomorrow.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share, and comment, and join us next time to find out what happens next.